The Walking Dead Dead City has officially premiered tonight, and I definitely have some thoughts about it. So, spoilers are ahead for episode 1 of the series. If you do not want to be spoiled, please click off now. So, I have only seen the first episode of the show, like a lot of people have, and I gotta say, it was a pretty solid start. I feel like Maggie and Negan were still Maggie and Negan. The gore was there, a lot of cool bloody scenes. Really enjoyed seeing that. Really cool walkers. The cinematography I thought was awesome. Some really great scenery shots of the city and so forth. Thought the color grading looked really good. It still looked like The Walking Dead, but obviously has its own different flair to it. And overall was just a solid first episode. So here in episode 1, it gets the ball rolling why Maggie wants Negan to help her find Herschel, because the bad guy that took him knows Negan and wants Negan, and they have a history back when they were both saviors. Even though the show is claiming that this Croat guy and Negan were both saviors at the same time, on the mainline show, he was not on the show at all. They're just either going to retcon it, or they're going to say that he was a savior and left before like Rick and the group showed up and fought the saviors. Either way, they'll kind of shove it in somewhere in the timeline, which whatever at this point, right? It doesn't really make all that big of a difference. But he seems, I guess, compelling enough. We barely got to see him at all at the end of episode 1, so we'll see what they end up doing with them. But the main focus of episode 1 here are, of course, Maggie and Negan. Negan is being hunted by these new people called the Marshals for like New Babylon or whatever. So supposedly they run some part of the country in the Northeast, and I don't know what gives them the power to hunt people down, saying that they have laws and so forth. I have no idea. There is obviously some passage of time here in episode 1 of Dead City, because I would say Herschel at the end of season 11 of The Walking Dead was anywhere from 7 to 10 years old, somewhere in there, and I would say now he's anywhere from 13 to 16, 17 years old, somewhere in there. So there's at least been another 6-ish years, 7-ish years that have passed in the Walking Dead's timeline. So stuff has changed at least a little bit, and we don't know how the Commonwealth is. We don't know how Alexandria is. Maggie confirmed in the show that Hilltop completely fell. They didn't rebuild it at all, and they technically started a new Hilltop, but we're not exactly sure. Negan's pseudo-daughter kind of gets pawned off to the new Hilltop people. We'll see if they develop that at all. And again, with the passage of time, they're kind of playing it fast and loose, and we're just not going to talk about it all that much, which is probably best, because you can kind of run yourself crazy thinking about timelines, especially in The Walking Dead. Anyways, these new people are hunting down Negan because he did some horrible stuff, and at this moment in the show, it's ambiguous what happened to his wife and kids, so we're kind of probably led to assume that they didn't make it, but we shall see. Another thing too I thought was odd, the bar that they featured in the episode had electricity, ran it like a normal bar that you'd see in like today's world. I guess if they're in this new Babylon territory or something, that they have some type of currency and some way to get gasoline to run generators and so forth, they could have electricity of some sort. But I just thought it was kind of odd. Does it look cool? Yeah, but it's just kind of odd to see that type of stuff at this point in The Walking Dead, which is what, loosely 15 years after the apocalypse has started, somewhere in there. Because you can suspend your disbelief for big communities like Commonwealth, even Alexandria, they have solar power. Like, you understand that, you get how you can get electricity, but just a random, like, ran down motel and bar, like, why are they using electricity? Why are they using resources on this? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Also, too, Raffi from Star Trek Picard is in this episode, and she gets eaten by walkers. But the overall episode I thought was super solid, somewhere like a 7.5 to 8 out of 10. It sets up this new little world that they're in. It gets the ball rolling pretty quick. We get to see some awesome walkers, awesome walker kills, some good blood, guts, and gore. In a lot of ways, it felt like the real Walking Dead again, but just with a new flavor to it, a new twist. And I won't lie, it feels a little odd where, you know, obviously Maggie's looking for Negan and they set off on this journey that no one else is there to help. No Daryl or Michonne or Carol or anyone else. It just feels kind of odd that it's just them two. But they do have great chemistry, even if it is just hateful chemistry between the two characters. They play off one another very well. So I would imagine the next 5 episodes are going to have a lot of great Maggie and Negan moments. And going into episode 2 and beyond, I'm excited to watch it. At worst, I think it's going to be a super solid summer show. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with the rest of the show and how it relates to the greater Walking Dead universe as a whole. Will this have more ramifications to the whole universe, or is this going to be more of just a smaller story where it just kind of affects, you know, these few characters that are featured in this show? But to not ramble on too long, I think it's a good start. Maggie and Negan have great chemistry still, again, even if it's still hateful chemistry. The set design's great. Cinematography is great. Blood, guts, and gore are back. Awesome. There's even an F-bomb from Negan. And the few cons I would say it did have is you can't really think about the timeline and some of the more realistic aspects to this. You just can't think about it, which I get it. A lot of shows you can't think too realistically about, right? But either way, if you're a Walking Dead fan, I definitely recommend checking this out. I can already tell with one episode of this show, it's going to be the best Walking Dead spinoff show that we've seen thus far. Comparing it to Tales of the Walking Dead, World Beyond, and Fear, Dead City, without a doubt, will be better than all those. Also, too, during the commercial break in episode 1, we did see a little teaser for the Daryl Dixon show. It's going to be called The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, and apparently during the commercial break on episode 2 of Dead City, they're going to show a longer sneak peek of the new Daryl show, so that's also fun. So with all that said, I want to know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and while you're down there, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. Until next time, guys, everyone have a great day. Thanks for watching.